Hi, today I want to talk to you about a bug out bag. And I know that maybe you haven't ever heard of that. A bug out bag is a bag that you have prepared, ready to go in case you need to bug out the door pretty quickly, in case of a disaster or an emergency of any sort. And the bag usually contains quite a few things, and it's designed for specifically for emergencies and disasters and things like that, where you may need to be away from home or whatever for a few days, a week or more, or whatever, and it gives you some of the basic essentials that you need in order to survive or provide for yourself or whatever during this time. So today I want to talk to you about some of the bug out bag contents that you need to have in your bug out bag. These are also called survival backpacks. Probably one of the reasons why survival backpacks might make a little bit more sense is because a lot of times people use backpacks for these bug out bags, specifically the type of bags that mountain hikers use, where it has like a metal frame and it has padding and all that, because this is something that's meant for you to be carried or carried literally physically with your person. And in case of certain disasters, there may or may not be maybe your car was damaged. There may not be public transportation. You may need to walk for a great distance carrying this bag. So you need to keep that in mind whenever you pack your bag. It needs to be a weight that you can manage to carry on your own and have the contents in it that you're going to need. Now, for example, I've got a few things here, and I do not have a complete entire bug out bag to show you. I'm still working on all of my bug out bags, and ideally every person in your family would have their own bug out bag. So children, that obviously are of walking age and can walk, give them a little backpack, put their stuff in it. Theirs might contain, obviously, maybe a change of clothes and something very, very light. You don't want to weigh them down at all. But, maybe have like their favorite stuffed animal, a book to read, toys, things like that, maybe to entertain them, as well as some snacks and some water or a cup or something like that. Definitely need to give them a bag to carry some things. Their things might be obviously very different than what you, the adult, are going to carry. You're going to have some things that'll be used for them for their benefit. This is just one bag. This is not a backpack. This is a bag that you might want to put in your car. You can have a bug out bag just for your car, for mobile, in case like a preparedness kit in the back. I know where I live, we get snowstorms in the winter. Not always horrible snowstorms, but we were always taught from the time I was growing up that when a snow comes, you make sure you have a blanket, you have a flashlight, a tire iron, a jack, jumper cables, a first aid kit, some things like that you want to keep in the back of your car. If you wanted to beef that up a little bit, you could do a modified version, or actually even a bigger version, because if it's in the back of your car and you're driving it, you don't have to worry about carrying it. You might be able to keep things in the back of your car that maybe are a little bit heavier or maybe a little bit more useful, like a camp stove or some things like that, maybe that are a little bit larger, maybe gallons of water and maybe a bigger first aid kit for sure, and things like that, and keep all that with you. But this is one that you could have that's more like a medium size. It's not a backpack. You can just carry it with you, kind of like a purse. I know most women seem to have everything in your purse but the kitchen sink, and there's a good reason for that. I can't tell you how many times I've needed it. But like in a bag like this, or in a backpack or something, you can have a bedroll, blanket, stuff like that. You definitely want to have like a rain poncho, something to keep you dry. Definitely lots of socks, a change of clothes. If it's summer, definitely have like a long sleeve, light colored shirt to help block the sun, a hat, whether it's a baseball cap, a big straw hat, something like that to kind of shield your face. Sunscreen. Definitely keep sunscreen, because if you're walking for any length of time in the summer, even in the winter, you can get a sunburn, with the sun bouncing off the snow or something like that. Sunburn's very serious, and you can get sun sickness, as well as, dehydration and all that. So keep sunscreen, clothing to keep you covered, a jacket or something like that. You definitely want a first aid kit. This is a very, very small one. Great to have in like a child's bag, because this is very, very light. But you definitely also want to have a snake bite and or bug bite kit. Everything that I've finding that is great for a bug out bag, I'm getting at Walmart. Just go to the camping section at Walmart, and they have pretty much anything and everything you would need. They even have MREs at Walmart, believe it or not. This is scrambled eggs and bacon. It's freeze dried. I guess you eat it just, it says add 1 cup of boiling water to the pouch. So you take and you would boil water on your camp stove or something, and you would just open the pouch, pour the boiling water in, leave it sit for 5 to 6 minutes, and eat up. Oh, yum, yum. But this is really light. Obviously, if you have your regular food storage, you're going to want to have canned goods and things like that, absolutely. For shorter term, like your power goes out. You know, we've had storms here with ice and things like that where the power's been out for a week or two because it downed the lines, and they had, and it, thousands of people without power. And that was not, that's a relatively minor disaster compared to something, even more drastic. But, you never know. I mean, it could happen. A thunderstorm can come and knock your power out, and you can be out without power for days. So you need to kind of be prepared for that and to have ways to, cook your food, prepare your food, and things like that. Another thing you can have in your bug out bag is a folding saw. So that if you need to, for whatever reason, cut down limbs, trees, clear a path, firewood's usually best to find things laying around that's already dead and dried. It burns better. But absolutely, if you need to make a shelter or something like that, you just never know what you're going to need a saw for. This is a mess kit. I got this at Walmart, and you can see here it's got you can cook in it and eat from it, and it's got a little covered pot and a cup, and all of this is 100% aluminum, so and it all kind of fits together in a little kit. When I was in Girl Scouts, we had these. They said, oh, you got to have a mess kit, and so we would go get a mess kit. And in Girl Scouts, we had these little mesh bags. They were open weave nylon mesh bags, and then after we washed our mess kit, we would put it in our bag and we would hang it on the clothesline, like next to our swimsuits or something. Like a lingerie bag or something like that would be perfect for this. And you might also be able to find a bag like that, so that if you need to hang things up and dry them, you can do that. Then we also have, you need something to be able to collect water in and drink water. Now, I would not suggest that you carry several bottles of water with you, if at all possible. Water's heavy. I mean, to carry bottles of water around is really, really heavy. I mean, I would definitely recommend that you carry at least 1 bag of water in every backpack. Maybe not for little children, but definitely a canteen, a bottle, or something that's sealable, that the water doesn't drip out or whatever. But you need to have water purification tablets, so that if you find a water source, like from a stream or a creek or a river or whatever, you can fill up your bottles, drop in the water tablet, and it will disinfect it and make it safe for drinking, because you don't want to get dysentery or something like that from drinking water that hasn't been cleaned and and purified, make yourself sick. You definitely don't want to have that. But you can start out with a bottle of water, and then when it's gone, keep the bottle, and then just refill that and use that. They also have bottles like this, like drinking bottles that have filters in them, and supposedly filtering the water would be good as well. I know that would certainly get out, like mud and gunky stuff. I'm not 100% sure if it purifies it. It might filter it, but it might not purify it. So check when you're looking to make sure you get one that's actually purifying it. The tablets are super, super cheap. Just drop one in and you're done. And that would work. And then some of the other things that you would need, and the list could be extensive. It depends on how big you want your bug out bag to be as to what the contents would be for that. You would need a rope or twine or clothesline, something like that, because any food that you have with you, you need to make sure that you tie it up in a tree really high and away from your campsite. Because if you're out in the wilderness and there's bears and raccoons and things like that, you need to have that up in a tree so that your food is safe from the animals and they don't come into the camp. So you need to make sure that you cook your food, prepare your food enough of a distance away, and then store the food even further away from where you're sleeping, so that they don't come and in the middle of the night when you're sleeping thinking you still have food on you. Obviously MREs are great to have. protein bars, snack bars, granola bars, those types of things, dried fruit, nuts, anything like that are really good to have. I would also keep with you, obviously, as I said, a first aid kit, but also in the snake bite kit, but things like a pain reliever, something for an upset stomach, like Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, something like that, because if you're out there and you're eating new and strange things, or, maybe you get a little bit of water that makes you sick, or, whatever, you need to have a way to kind of, solve those issues so that, you can kind of keep going, you don't get people sick. Antibiotic ointments and salves, sprays, definitely Benadryl, because if anybody has any sort of allergic reaction to anything, Benadryl is usually the best thing to give them, unless you have like an epinephrine pen or an EpiPen. If you've got somebody who has a known allergy, you need to make sure that they have like their asthma medication, their EpiPens, and some things like that in their bag, or you need to have it in your bag for them. Anybody who requires any type of medication, make sure you have that. Clothing, matches, obviously a way to start a fire. Now, obviously, if you can find dried leaves, twigs, kindling, that sort of thing, and you can make your own fire if you've got matches. They do have little bitty Duraflame fire starter logs in the camping section at Walmart. Those would be perfect. Put a couple of those in there so you can start a fire. One of the things that I noticed that they had at Walmart in the camping section, which I thought was really cool, was this little bitty teeny tiny camping stove. Now, it would be perfect to use with your mess kit because it was probably not much bigger in diameter than the bottom of this pan, and it was a folding camp stove. And so it looked like it was made out of aluminum or something like that, and it looked like a little box, and it would fold. But when you open the box, you put this little buddy burner or Bunsen burner thing underneath it that was about the size of a tin can, or tuna can. And when I was in Girl Scouts, we actually made these. And we took tuna cans, and we took pieces of cardboard or whatever, and we, yay high, and kind of swirled it in there and drizzled, I think, paraffin wax or something over it, so it would burn a little bit better, I guess, maybe slow the burn of the cardboard. And you would light that, and that's exactly what these things were. And the box, it was not, maybe about this big, maybe just a little bit smaller than this, but about half this width. So it was really, really small. It would be really great for personal cooking, and if everybody had their own, you can all, definitely, get some water to heat it up to, cook your MREs, and everybody would have their own little thing. And of course, they have bigger camp stoves, and, who wants to haul around a great old big camp stove on their back? Unless you have something that pulls on wheels, which if you're going through woods and on rocks and things like that, that's not going to pull very easily. But, it's great maybe to have in your car. It's certainly definitely something good to have in your overall food storage and your, disaster preparedness supplies. Definitely you need a cook stove and some bigger items and things to kind of replace our traditional things that require, electric and gas and, and all that. You have something that's maybe a little bit more portable for camping. Another thing that I would suggest is you use rechargeable batteries, because you're going to obviously have to have a lantern or lighting source, and a compass and a map and things like that. But I would recommend rechargeable batteries, and if you can find it, a solar powered source to recharge that, whether it's a solar powered generator, or I'm not sure if they have, I've seen something, and I'll have to go do some searching and see if I can find it, something small that's solar powered, because I know they've got like solar powered lights you stick in the ground to light your walkway into your house. I'm assuming that they're going to have some sort of a solar powered generator that might be small, that might have like USB ports or electric plugs in it, so that you could plug in and recharge your rechargeable batteries using solar power. And depending on the type of disaster, if cell phone towers are still up and running, or certainly you want to have a weather radio or something like that, have a way for you to have a plug that might plug into whatever your solar powered rechargeable energy source is, so that you can either plug in a converter and plug in USB things, like your cell phone or whatever, your laptop or anything like that, so that you have a way to plug in those devices should the services that run those devices still work. Just some things to consider and to look around and see what's out there, because you just, you have to stop and think, okay, what do I use on a day-to-day basis? What would I really need to use over the course of a week or a month or whatever? And the bug out bag is really, kind of, depending on the size of your bug out bag, is really intended to maybe last you 7 to 14 days. Maybe you can fit enough stuff in there to last you 7 to 14 days, and then you would need to be someplace else where you could, get more supplies, or, get to where you have your main food storage and things like that. So anyway, hopefully this helped you, gave you an idea of what a bug out bag was, some of the things that you can put in your bug out bag, and customize it to what your needs are. If you have children with you, maybe put some toys or some things that are going to entertain them a little bit. Maybe their favorite blanket, their favorite, put their pillow in there, things like that. One other thing I forgot to mention. One of the things that you definitely need to have at the ready, maybe not inside your bug out bag, but right next to it, is some tall rubber boots. Rubber boots are great if you're going to be walking for any length of time, whether it's in rain, snow, summer, whatever. You might be walking through a lot of brush, a lot of maybe some water, standing water, things like that, and you need to keep your feet dry. That's the most important thing, is, keep your feet dry. And it will do that. But also, if you're walking through brush or things like that, snakes have a tendency to, to come out, and they might strike at your, your feet, your ankles, or your whatever. And if you were wearing rubber boots, it would protect your feet and maybe protect you from a snake bite that could be potentially deadly. So, tall rubber boots for everyone in the family would be a wise thing to have. Keep your feet dry, protect you at the same time, and definitely plenty of socks to keep your feet dry so you don't get blisters and things like that. So anyway, I look forward to hearing some of the things that you would put into your bug out bag, and if you already have a bug out bag, have you ever heard of it before? If so, let me know and put your comment below. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.